just to spite you, I'm going to take the call you said I don't want to take. We're taking that call. We're going to go to Susanne, who wants to talk about pro-life, and you're on with Tracie and John.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Susanne.
Hey, John.
Hey, Susanne.
Am I saying that right? Because
Yes,
Suzanne?
Susanne.
Okay.
That's correct. So, obviously, I'm a theist, and I believe life begins at conception.
Okay.
But let me take my theist hat off and put my atheist hat on for a little bit and give an argument for pro-life. Okay.
So like you mean a secular argument?
Yeah,
universe.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Wait, what?
He was just saying
No.
what you're giving is a secular
argument for pro-life.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay. No,
Okay.
no.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm clarifying. I'm not correcting you.
I am a theist. I'm not.
But that's fine. You can still
fair.
put forward a secular argument. So go ahead.
All right. So the vast universe, right? It's huge. It's giant.
Sure.
Then we have our solar system. And then we have the planet Earth. And we have some lady who gets pregnant. Okay. So this lady who got pregnant, the egg, with all the sperm that were swimming toward that egg, the one sperm went out and got the egg pregnant. And if that egg survives God, the mass, what do you call it? God, the mass abortionist. I mean, ultimately, if pregnancy survives miscarry, sorry, I'm a little
Let's just say, if the egg implants, a pregnancy occurs. Right?
Right.
And if it doesn't spontaneously miscarry, you're talking about.
Right. Well, it's still...
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
If it survives the 3-month window where it's not miscarried
Right.
and avoids birth defect and all of that, then let's give that little guy, girl, whatever, let's give them a chance to experience life. Because according to you guys, this is the only experience there is.
Right, but what you're
So
saying, what
why-
you're putting forward here is not an argument, it's a suggestion.
Oh, okay.
You're suggesting
So I
that this is
suggest-
how I view it, and I would like other people to view it this way.
But I'm saying, but yes, exactly. But I'm wondering if this will sway your point of view at all.
It's
When
not
you
going to
consider-
what you're trying to argue for would be, if I understand right, you're arguing against pro-choice, right? Or am I not? Because that's what they put in the description. So I want to clarify. So
No,
if you're asking
that's
me,
right.
if you're asking me whether I would take that suggestion as basis for legislating that we're going to force all women to gestate and give birth without, making it her choice. Like, I'm going to tell other women that they have to do this because you think babies should have a chance after 3 months. I don't think that would be a pretty good, solid basis for law, no.
Right. Okay. But I understand that. And I'm trying to say, I mean, it's pretty much natural selection at its best. And I guess if you look at it,
Right, but we don't force people to give up their bodies to somebody else for almost a year because natural selection.
I understand bodily autonomy. I understand that argument. But I want to come at it from, I guess, a big picture. This little punk. You're
going to have to do better than emotional manipulation. You're going to have to show me a legal argument to take away somebody's rights to their own body.
Right. If you're just saying we should give the baby a chance, then I think you should have that choice to give that baby a chance if you're the pregnant person.
And you should even be able to speak that to other people if you think that, hey, just give the baby. But not everybody's in a position where that's going to be a great decision for them. And that's the thing. It's
yeah, you have a good point. Yes, it is an emotional argument. That's true.
And there's nothing wrong with expressing your emotions, and there's nothing wrong with appealing to somebody's emotions. But there is something wrong with legislating based on our emotional feedback.
Okay, right. But what I was trying to do is just see if this was, I guess, be an emotional argument, but if it would sway you guys in any way to be just you guys personally be like, oh, wait, okay, yeah, no.
Well, but my personal, if you're talking about, like, for example, first of all, I'm not convinced that if I got pregnant, I would automatically opt for an abortion, okay? So I may already be sympathetic to the idea of, in my own life, with my specific situation, if I were to turn up pregnant, which would be quite the miracle, but if I did, I would probably say, hey, let's try to have this baby because I can do this, But that's not something that is going to sway my position on whether or not I'm going to dictate to another woman what she has to do.
All right, I see.
But I'm already kind of on board with you as far as, if I was in a different situation, let's say I'm in poverty, let's say that, that I am not very healthy, that I'm not, that I'm just, or maybe I just am, terrified at the prospect of a pregnancy and a childbirth. Maybe that just, frightens me, or I just don't want, if there's something going on in my life and it's like, I just can't do this right now. And so then the question becomes, are we going to force somebody to let somebody else use their body without their consent by law?
Yeah, no, I see. We don't need to force people to stay pregnant. But then it goes into we need to make adoption more easier.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to promote other solutions, I actually think that it's an admirable thing if you kind of are if you view abortion as something that you don't like, making sure that people have options, making sure that women who are single are supported, making sure that you can still go to college and you don't have to drop out of school if you have a baby, that doing things that make it easier to have a baby and to continue on in your life without it being like a major drain on you in many ways, or being, even if we take steps to maybe make pregnancies less deadly in the United States, because we actually have a problem with maternal death in this country for some weird reason, because we actually can avail ourselves of the same. Yes, which is very weird because there's no excuse for it. We should not be having a rise in maternal death rates in the United States. We should be well beyond that. And so that's something we can beat, right? So what I'm saying is, applause to you for saying, I don't really like the abortion solution, so I want to make sure women have lots and lots of other options that make it real easy for them to have a baby, because, I'm on board with that option, and I want to make sure that it's easy for people to do that and it doesn't become a huge hardship to have a child. A lot of people aren't that forward thinking who are anti-choice. So you get the cookie for that one. And I would say that you are in that category of personally being pro-life, but being broadly pro-choice. I think that you're not in a place where you're ready to make it the law that no woman gets to choose and that they all have to have these babies. But I think you're more of a personal pro-life person who is like, I would probably go to the wall to have the baby. If I had to, I would do whatever, to make that okay. And I think that's okay. And I actually appreciate that about your call as well, which is you show that there can be a distinction where a person can have empathy and a person can have, that love of that new life and that love of babies. I mean, that, they're cute, right? And a lot of us feel like
probably a little Asperger's.
I mean, we all, I think most people react positively to seeing a baby. And not everybody, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, and if they survive the womb.
I get what you're saying, but it's like I also understand everybody's got their own unique situation, and I can't speak for everybody. And my views.
Yeah, it's a legislative issue. I mean, we need to turn people's heads, turn their minds around. just, yeah.
So I really wish
That's the perspective.
when people frame it, though, it bothers me when it's like when people assume that pro-life is this antithesis of pro-choice. I'm sorry that has been stolen by people who just want to force gestations, because I see pro-life as being more someone like you who basically says, for myself, I would have the baby, and I want to make it easy for other people too. I don't want to make it hard for people to have children and then hammer them for having an abortion. Because I don't think that's right. And so at least you're there. I mean, a lot of people have no empathy whatsoever for the women that are involved. And so I really, am appreciative of your attitude on that. But when we call it I prefer to call it anti-choice, because you're not anti-choice, but you are pro-life. And people sometimes jump on me and they're like, "Oh, you're being just like argumentative to label it anti-choice."
You're anti-life. No, you are.
I'm pro-choice. I want women to be able to choose, and I think that you are pro-choice, but also pro-life. And I think that when people are wanting to legislate and take away the choice, that should be labeled anti-choice, because they're against giving people a choice. You're not that. You're pro-life, and I wish that the pro-life label broadly represented more people like you and had not been taken by people who really are anti-choice and not so much pro-life. You really are pro-life in my book.
Well, yeah, I am, but I'm also, I guess, pro-choice.
Yeah, I mean, I know that's, and I want people to understand that, and I wish that...
it can be both.
Yeah, and I wish that people that were really anti-choice wouldn't go around using the pro-life label, because that's not really what they're doing. They are anti-choice. And you're not one of them. So
no,
I appreciate your perspective on it. All right, we do have one more call to squeeze in. I'm not. Oh, no.
No, we have a hard stop.
Nope, hard stop. They're making me stop. So my apologies to Sarah on line 3. We're not going to get to your call today. But I have been.
Please call back next time.
I have been told no. So, all right. Susanne, you're our last call for tonight. I want to thank you very much for your perspective.
Well, thanks for taking me in spite of John.
Yes. I mean, see, the call was nice.
I'm sorry. I know.
The call was nice.
We've gotten a lot of really argumentative calls, and I apologize. I shouldn't have assumed.
And we're here to argue if we have to, so we can't shy away from the tough ones. So I appreciate your call. Thank you, Susanne.